Yo, what is going on YouTube? It's your boy Dan, aka aDrive. But guys, our team builder here for week 2 of the WBE. The Minnesota Vikavolts are taking on the San Diego Chimchargers and Coach Emvee, Lord Emvee himself. This is looking to be a pretty awesome matchup as Emvee is one of the best battlers on the showdowns and of the league formats and all that good stuff. The dude's incredible, man. He is like an absolute beast when it comes to league battles and just battling in general, like I said. So we definitely have our work cut out for us, but I have beaten Emvee in the past. He's beaten me as well, you know, so I feel like anything can happen in this match. So pretty excited about this one, and we're just gonna have some fun, man. That's the main point, is just to try to have fun. I'm not gonna stress too much about it, but we do have our team breakdown here, so hit that like button, subscribe if you are new, and the match will be going up tomorrow, and you're gonna not want to miss it. So get some popcorn, go to the store and get popcorn now, so you have it for tomorrow. But let's talk about his team. We're gonna talk about my team, what I'm bringing, why I'm bringing it, and everything, excuse me, in between. Alright, so he's got a Clefable first off. Clefable is most likely, if it comes, pretty tough because I think it's going to be unaware to stop my setup sweepers, but he could run Magic Guard to kind of stop Toxic and Stealth Rocks and things like that. He may have Stealth Rocks himself. Fully expect him to have Moonblast, and then, like I said, maybe Soft Boiled, Calm Mind maybe. Thunderbolt or Flamethrower, I think, is a secondary offensive option. He's got the Suicune, which I definitely feel like is coming. Suicune's one of his best ways to stop things like ALOLA and Sandslash, which otherwise kind of wrecks his team. So I definitely think he's going to bring that Suicune. I don't think he's going to bring like a Rest Sleep Talk set. I think he's better off running like a more bulky type set with just leftovers, maybe like Roar, Scald, you know, Toxic or something like that. I don't anticipate, like I said, the Crocoon, essentially. He's got the Cobalion, which I definitely think is coming as well. I think Choice Scarf Cobalion is a potential bring just because it can outspeed Gyarados at +1 and hit a super effective close combat if I'm not Mega Evolved. Alternatively, it's going to be faster than pretty much everything in my team, including my ALOLA Ninetales, which, you know, Cobalion does not want to take hits from that thing, even though it's neutral hits. It still doesn't want to take those hits because his special defense is pretty weak, and it could be a Stealth Rock setter, could have Volt Switch as well, but likely is carrying Steel, Fighting, maybe Volt Switch, and then, you know, Stealth Rocks or something. Alolan Muck, I think Alolan Muck or Mandibuzz are coming, but I'm leaning towards Alolan Muck. Alolan Muck is very, very difficult to take down. He could bring an Assault Vest set or the Super Berry set, where if he runs Gluttony, drops below 50%, then it's going to activate that berry and boost him up. I won't really be able to tell what set he's running, but we're going to have to play around Muck because it only has that one weakness to ground type, so very difficult to deal with. Knockoff hits my team really hard. Poison Jab is tricky. He can run Fire Punch, he can run Ice Punch, he can run Shadow Sneak. He can also be a Curse variant if that's something he wants to try to rock with. So, you know, Muck is going to be difficult for my team to deal with, but I think we can handle it. We got the Magneton here, which he may bring to try to trap my Steel types like Empoleon or Sandslash. Magneton is relatively faster than those two threats that I mentioned. He could bring a Choice Scarf Magneton set as well if he thinks that that's going to be solid with like maybe Sturdy or something like that. Instead of bringing Magnapole, maybe made me think that he has Magnapole, but he actually brings Sturdy, so you never know. Abomasnow, which I believe he brought last week. Abomasnow is kind of interesting. It does have soundproof, so it can stop things like Bug Buzz, which is interesting to note, but it generally is probably going to bring the hail, so it can fire off accurate blizzards. So we do have to kind of keep an eye on that, whether it's soundproof or whether it's you know, snow warning. He's got the Latias, Mega Latias, which is a huge threat. This thing is faster than everything on my team. Speed ties with the Archeops. It hits so hard, and it's so bulky, man. Mega Latias is broken, dude. Emvee had the first pick, and it is just, it's so good, dude. Mega Latias is just insane and just very difficult to beat. So I definitely think he's going to bring it. I wouldn't be surprised if he brought max speed, max HP with Calm Mind, Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, Roost. And Calm Mind, I feel like that set makes a lot of sense, but he could bring like a Defog variant. He's got the Diggersby. Diggersby offensively, I have no switch-ins to, but I also have a lot of things that beat it offensively, so because it's not that fast. So he could bring Diggersby. I think it's a very possible bring with like Earthquake, Return, Ice Punch, and maybe Quick Attack. I think that would make a lot of sense against my team. He's got the Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz is very bulky. Again, I feel like Alolan Muck comes over Mandibuzz, but if he's really worried about screens, he'll bring Mandibuzz for defog. He's got the Delphox. Delphox is a special attacker that hits 104 speed, so it's relatively fast, and it hits pretty hard. I can see it being Choice Scarf or Trick or some sort of variant like that with Fire Blast, maybe Psyshock, Shadow Ball, maybe, like I said, Trick or something. Dust Noir, I really am not anticipating Dust Noir too much. I don't really think it does a ton against my team, but generally it's just very bulky and has a lot of coverage options. And then his Z Crystal is Steelium Z, which you're going to really see on Cobalion the most, using Cobalion as a breaker with Swords Dance, then Z Iron Head or Z Flash Cannon. You might see it on the Magneton. He's got a couple other things like Diggersby, I think it's Iron Tail, but and Clefable gets Meteor Mash, I think, but generally it's Z-Crystal. I don't think is that applicable unless it's on Cobalion this week. So I kind of mentioned what I thought he was going to bring. I think Suicune, Cobalion, Muck, and Latias are 4 Pokemon that are very, very likely to be brought. Again, Suicune, Cobalion, Muck, and Latias, and then the other 2 slots, I feel like Clefable, Diggersby, Magneton, maybe 2 of the 3 out of those make the most sense there from my experience. So let's talk about what we're going to bring and why we're going to bring it. And I was torn on this build because I feel like with Emvee, you kind of have to, you don't want to psych yourself out and just like bring crazy stuff. You want to bring stuff that makes sense, but you also want to bring stuff that might catch him off guard. So you kind of have to find a good balance there, I feel like, because he obviously is going to know, he knows competitive Pokemon. He's going to be able to envision most scenarios, and he's going to be able to see a few turns ahead. So you really want to make sure you're prepared for pretty much every scenario. So I'm kicking things off with Alolan Ninetales this week. This is pretty much the same set I brought last week, and it's funny because in the past leagues I've had Alolan Ninetales, I've used it offensively. I've used it Choice Scarfed, I used it, you know, but 2 weeks in a row I'm bringing like the bulky, you know, Aurora Veiling Ninetales, and I just feel like it's good against him. 8 turns of Aurora Veil is so valuable just to keep my team healthy and also to give opportunities for setup sweepers. It makes things really, really difficult for my opponent. Encore is phenomenal. His Suicune, his Clefable, things like that might try to set up on me, I can Encore them into those options. Moonblast, Blizzard, obviously I have speed for Cobalion, but Moonblast and Blizzard are just standard offensive moves. Really don't need anything else there. I mean, I could have tried to run like HP Ground for Magneton or something, but you know, I felt like going with the Encore and the Aurora Veil were the best options there. So Emma Frost looking pretty good, and again, we've had pretty much max bulk, max speed, you know, max HP rather. So just really there to set up that Aurora Veil for 8 turns. The next Pokemon is our Gyarados here, and Gyarados looks phenomenal against his team. Taunt, Dragon Dance, Waterfall, Crunch. Gyarados is so important on this team this week because it's really one of my best and main offensive responses to his team. In terms of like the offense I'm bringing this week, Gyarados is the focal point for so many reasons. One, it pretty much can guarantee a Dragon Dance on almost anything. It's bulky enough to take a super effective hit from Latias. It's bulky enough to take a Moonblast from Clefable. It can taunt, so I can stop things like Thunder Wave. I can stop things like Roar from Suicune. He's got to be worried about setup too. He's got to be worried about me going for Substitute. So that's really good. The Intimidate helps me against the Cobalion. It helps me against the Muck. It even helps me set up against the Diggersby. So with all those things in mind, Gyarados looks really, really poised to potentially set up against my opponent and then hopefully at least dent a few things. Maybe not sweep completely, but at least dent a few things. I probably have to go +2 to sweep completely, but at +1, he doesn't really have a reliable switch in because even +1 Suicune and you know, Clefable can't really reliably take waterfalls and crunches if I'm +1. So you'll see my core strategy is around Gyarados this week. We are going to Mega Evolve, but there are some mind games as to whether we Mega Evolve or not, especially against things like Cobalion. Does he Volt Switch? Does he Close Combat? Do I Mega Evolve? Do I not? You know, some things like that. So a couple things to make note of there. Next Pokemon, really excited about is our mascot here, Vikavolts. Vikavolt is rocking pretty much max HP, max special attack with Volt Switch, Bug Buzz, Thunderbolt, and Roost. This is running Leftovers, meant to be like a bulky pivot. He has a lot of issues against Vikavolt, and I was gonna bring Agility Offensive Vikavolt this week, but I really felt like the bulkier set, the pivot was better, because Assault Vest Muck kind of shuts me down, and you know, +2 Vikavolt does not outspeed +1 Diggersby, so I felt like that was like if he ran Choice Scarf Diggersby, which I feel like is a viable set, it wasn't really that good. But this thing really pressures his Lati, it pressures the Suicune a lot, it usually beats the Cobalion if he doesn't have Stone Edge. You know, it can switch into things like Magneton and take its hits. You know, if he's not soundproof Abomasnow, I can Bug Buzz it. So you can see kind of the benefits there. You know, Mana Buzz typically isn't going to do much to me. So, and we've got Roost there to increase our longevity. The key is keeping the rocks off the field. I have 3 Pokemon I've shown so far, all weak to Stealth Rocks, so we do have to be very cautious of that, but try to set them ourselves, so kind of tricky. But that's our Vikavolt set. Our next Pokemon is going to be Landorus. Again, bringing a Choice Scarf Landorus this week. I brought it last week. I really felt like Choice Scarf was the best set this week because of how big of a threat the Latias was, and I love the pivoting option with U-Turn. The fact that he, like, assuming he doesn't bring Mandibuzz, his best switch into an Earthquake is the Latias, but that doesn't want to take a U-Turn. It does about 50%. I am running Adamant, which allows me to outspeed still everything on his team, unless his Choice Scarf Cobalion. We do Speed Tie with Choice Scarf Max Speed Diggersby, but it's very unlikely that he brings that, and, you know, Choice Scarf Delphox outspeeds us. But generally, we're pretty safe to come in, U-Turn around, Earthquake around. This is most likely my dedicated lead, so depending on, unless I see something crazy, I probably lead with Landorus and we U-turn out. If I see Cobalion lead, I'm Earthquaking. Even if he goes Lati, I don't care. I'm Earthquaking on turn 1 because to me, getting rid of that Cobalion is very, very valuable for the rest of my team. So we're going to rock with that. Next pick is going to be our Shaymin. Shaymin is rocking max HP, good amount of speed, enough speed for Diggersby, and then a decent amount of special attack investment. Seed Flare, Earth Power, Healing Wish, and Leech Seed. Leech Seed is really good because it just drains my opponent's health and, you know, kind of helps the rest of the team when I switch it in. Earth Power, gotta love that for Muck. If he's not Assault Vest, we're doing a good amount of damage there. Seed Flare has that 50% chance to drop their special defense, which is pretty clutch, and it keeps me from worrying so much about Clefable and Suicune as I can spam Seed Flare. And then Healing Wish is like the key to this set. Being able to, you know, allow my Gyarados to be a little bit reckless against the Suicune. Maybe I get Scald Burn, maybe I get weakened down, whatever it may be. Meadow is here to Healing Wish up that Gyarados, potentially late game, which really is the main receiver of the Healing Wish would be that Gyarados. So definitely liking the Shaymin set. And again, Leech Seed is really solid against him. You know, he may bring a Bomb of Snow or something like that, which could prove to be a bit problematic, but I think we could work around it. And then last but not least is going to be our Empoleon here, which is bringing a Calm Nature set. We got Scald, Stealth Rock, Roar, and Toxic. It actually should be Torrent, not Defiant, so I'm going to breed up a new one, a new Empoleon with Torrent instead of Defiant there. But nevertheless, we got Scald, Stealth Rock, Roar, and Toxic. This thing, I was torn between this and Sand Slash, like a bulky Sand Slash, but I felt like having Roar was too valuable against the fact that he's got 3 or 4 potential setup sweepers. This is my main response to Muck, which kind of stinks that is my best answer to Muck, but I can take the poison moves. I can obviously take a knockoff. It's not a huge deal. I can set up Stealth Rocks, and I can poison some things like Latias, which may try to come in, or Suicune, which may try to come in and take some hits. So that's our Empoleon set there. In terms of stuff that I left out, again, Alolan Sand Slash I felt was really good, but with him likely bringing Suicune, you know, I feel like Suicune is too big of a threat, and you know, I feel like Choice Scarf Cobalion is a threat. He's got a couple different things that he could bring for Sand Slash, and I feel like he's gonna prep for Sand Slash, so I kind of took a step back and said, you know what, I'll let him prep for Sand Slash. I'm gonna do a couple different things here. Girder, I felt like Girder actually had an okay matchup, but with Latias and Clefable most likely being brings, definitely Latias. Girder kind of struggles a little bit there. You know, the Reuniclus, I can't do much with Reuniclus with him having a Muck and a Mandibuzz, so I wasn't even going to try to navigate that because it just gives Muck a free switch in. Goodra looked okay, but again, unless I ran Leftovers Goodra, which wasn't that bad of an option, you know, I really didn't think it was all that great. And then Archeops, like, Archeops could have been decent in this match, but that Defiant ability is such a crippling kind of aspect there, so I kind of went with these 6. I feel really good about these 6, so the key is really going to be just to keep those hazards off the field. That's why I have Choice Scarf Defog. I feel like that's kind of cool. Oh, I didn't even mention actually on Landorus here, I talked about U-turn and Earthquake, but I have Punishment on there. Punishment deals more damage based on the amount of stat boost the opponent has, so it's really designed for if he starts Calm Mining with Latias and I don't really have much for it, I can send in Jafar, I can Punishment, I will outspeed, and I can deal a tremendous amount of damage. After like +2, like 2 Calm Mines, I do like 70%, so we're going to be doing a tremendous amount of damage to the Lati and kind of catch him off guard there, so that also helps against like Swords Dance, you know, Diggersby or something, you know what I mean? There's options there, so that's the squad right there, guys. Get excited for the match coming up tomorrow. That's gonna be it for me, guys. My name is Dan. I also go by aDrive, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace. Thanks so much for checking out my last video. If you like that one, you'll definitely like this one, and be sure to subscribe for more as I post Pokemon videos every single day.